Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to the Communications from Home live stream show right here at Facebook at Star Nation's main fan page. Tonight is Tuesday, January 28th. We're at the very end of the month. Can you believe that? I know. It was like Zoom. We went right through January. Hey, hi, Rochelle. Good to have you here, by the way, lady. Welcome, everybody, to the live stream. Thank you so much for being with me this evening. And those that are be watching the recorded show, thank you for making time in your day to join us as well. Tonight's show is all about the moon. And did you know that it is Chinese New Year? It is. That started on the 24th and goes until I think the 9th or the 10th. So it's a lunar new year. And when I was prepping for this class, I suppose it could be called a class. We go through a lot of information. When I was prepping for the show, and actually I was in meditation with my spiritual team, and I was asking them, so what's important for us to talk about, to chat about with everybody on Tuesday night for Communications from Home. And they showed me the moon. And it's like, okay. And so we're going to be talking about the moon. And when I said, okay, there's so much information out there about the moon, what perspective are we coming in? And it was all about the new year. And I realized that, we talk about Chinese New Year, but Lunar New Year is so much bigger than that. It encompasses so much of our shared ancestry. And so that's what I want to talk about tonight. And also bringing in the divine feminine. All right. So as we're getting ready to get started here with all that good information, I'm going to pause just for a second, and I am going to send the show over to my news feed so that my friends remember that I'm live streaming tonight. That's always a good thing, right? I invite you to also do that as well. Send it over to a friend or to your news feed, somebody who you feel is looking for this kind of information, this kind of conversation, right? One of the things that I've talked about in the past is that as light workers, energy workers, it's almost like our civic duty in a way. Whenever we find any kind of post, video, live stream, anything that helps us with our spiritual journey, that we're helping others when we share it. Okay, when we send it over to them, so that maybe they can glean something from it as well. And so it's kind of like our civic duty. Yeah, and it's fun. And it's fun to have our friends and our family in the conversation. And so I would be so appreciative if you did do that for us. So tonight, here in northwestern Wisconsin, we actually had 23 degrees today. It's like a tropical heat wave. It actually hasn't been that cold here, so I shouldn't even be teasing about that. I should be counting our blessings that it has been mild so far. And so this last new moon, full moon, all of the phases of the moon in this month has been very powerful, don't you think? I mean, we've had full moons, lunar eclipses. We've had, I think it was a lunar eclipse, or was that a solar? That was at the beginning of the month. And we had, it's a lot of energy out there with the moon, don't you think? And I don't know about you, but since December, the lunar energy has been pretty strong. I've been feeling it, and it's usually not quite this intense for me. I have other friends and family where they feel the energy of the moon so much stronger. Many of them happen to be water signs, and so they tend to have more of a reaction to the moon and the phases of the moon, right? I happen to be a triple fire, so my connection is more with the sun in that regard. All of those solar flares, right? All right. So tonight's show, the reason why I even wanted to share all this information with you is because I'm actually February article in Star Nations magazine is actually about the same topic. And I realized that we could have a really good conversation tonight regarding the lunar new year, the lunar calendar, how we celebrate tapping into the energy of the moon, and why would we even want to do that? And also maybe some little known facts, anyway, about the relationship between the sun and the moon when it comes to calendars. Because I was going, oh, really? When I was researching. So why don't we get started, right? So most of you realize that it is Chinese New Year, right? And it goes for 15 days. It goes from, I've got it right here. And it is, I thought I had it right here. Here it is. It says it begins the first new moon of the lunar calendar and ends on the first full moon of the lunar calendar 15 days later. So for us in the Midwest, in the central time zone, it goes from January 24th, it begins through February 9th. Okay. And so it's all about the phases of the moon and how the moon waxes and wanes, right? As it builds in energy and how its energy starts to go down, right? And when I was researching this, and I was thinking, there's so many different New Years that is celebrated across Grandmother Earth. Many of us only kind of focus on one, and that's the December 31st, New Year's Eve, and then New Year's Day, right? And that really has so much more to do with the Gregorian calendar or the sun calendar rather than the moon calendar. And how many people even knew there was a moon calendar, a lunar year? Let me know in the chat if you knew about a lunar measurement of a calendar, right? It actually goes way, 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 way into our ancestry. Our ancestors actually did measurement by the moon more so than they did by the sun. That's why we have phrases like once in a new moon or blue moon, right? We also have, for some indigenous people, the measurement of their birth was how many moons are they old, right? And the moon has always been connected with the feminine energy, grandmother moon, sister moon, right? And how much the moon is in relationship with water, and how the moon affects tides, right? The oceans. So it's very feminine. It's a very feminine way to be able to measure, right? Now, we still use the sun to measure as well, because it measures our days, and the moon measures our nights, right? But in the ancients, they used more of the moon. Now, the measurement by the sun is more about the sacred masculine, right? And the moon is more about the sacred feminine. And so as I was kind of thinking through, feeling through the information, and I was realizing that the celebrations of the new year is very interesting, because we have to go back and take a look at Samhain, right? One of the major pagan or Celtic celebrations of a new year, and that is at the end of October, right? And so that's based on the moon. That's a lunar new year. And then you have to kind of move a little bit forward to December, to the winter solstice, where that is, for some people, their new year, which is also based on the moon, right? And then there's other lunar celebrations as well for the new year. There is one called, and I've got the name right here. It's out in Chiang Mai, Thailand. It's called Yi Peng, and that's the Lantern Festival, And that's held in November. And I'm going to show you a picture on that in just a second. But there's lots of different ways of celebrating a new year, right? And then even if you go forward, then there's the Chinese New Year that a lot of people know about, right? And then you have to go a little bit further, and in July, there's the Egyptian New Year. That's when the Nile floods, right? And that's all connected to Isis and creation and all, so there's many different ways of celebrating New Year. And as I was taking that in, I was thinking, you know, I think that as modern day mystics, many of us, modern day mystics, modern day druids, however you want to label yourself, is that I think that we can embrace one or more of the times to celebrate, right? Because generally speaking, we're all basically doing the same thing, no matter which New Year you decide to celebrate on. We're doing a reflection of the past year, things that happened. The memories of those good times, the things that we want to release, and then we turn and we make the decision or the intention of what we want to bring into our lives, right? It's basically the same, no matter which New Year you decide to celebrate. Yeah. So those of us that are consciously wanting to bring in more of a balance of the sacred feminine to balance out the sacred masculine so that we have balance, you might want to consider that in how you and when you celebrate your New Year, right? Yeah. So, Rob, can we take a look at a few people to say hi to people in the chat room? Lynn's here. Hey, Lynn. Good to have you here, lady. And Rochelle's here. It's always good to have Rochelle in the house. Rochelle, and I'm going to make some time for you, hopefully by the weekend, to help you with your tablet so we can get you set up with getting to the shows and all of that. So I know you're having a little problem with it. I got your messages, so we're going to work on that, okay? All right. And Rob says lunar eclipses are in the full moon and solar in the new year. Yes. Yes. And Julie Hedges, host of the live stream show Cosmic Conversations, right? She's our resident astrologer and tarot person here at Star Nations. And she has had several shows about the eclipses and both moon and sun, right? And she's also talked about the moon phases. That I wanted to take a look at the moon from a little bit different perspective tonight. Okay. And so if you're interested in the astrological emphasis on the moon, Julie did a show through Tarot Journey, I think it was a couple months ago. We'll have to get the link for that and we'll put it in the comments after the show. So if you guys want to take a look at that one, it'll give you a lot more information from the astrological point of view. Okay. Yeah. Hey, Jen's here. Hello, Jen's. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. And Deborah. Hello, Deborah. Deborah's back in town. She was out with her grandchildren. All right. So here's another little tidbit, right? Oh, Rob is saying the Chinese calendar is actually not a true lunar calendar. No, it's not. It's a lunar. I've actually got the term here. It's called a lunisolar, LUNISOLAR, lunar solar. And it's actually about the sun longitude and the moon phases. Yeah. Yep. A lunar solar sidereal. And see, the calendar stuff, man, if you start to really dive into the calendars, it's going to be oh my God, there's so much information here. Oh my goddess. But yeah, the Chinese have taken Now, this is my take on it, all right? They've blended the solar calendar and the lunar calendar. And by doing that, they've blended the extroverted yang, right, which is the sun, with the introverted yin female, which is the lunar, and have come up with this blended lunar solar calendar. And if you take it one step further, they've actually blended more of a religious, I'm going to put that in air quotes, religious take on the lunar new year and the more secular, which is what we actually see more about. And that is, the fireworks and the red envelopes. And although the red envelopes, there's a whole spiritual meaning behind red envelopes from a feng shui perspective, and the use of the color red. The color red is it's a very vibrant color, right? And it's got a lot of energy to it. And it has more to do with luck, increasing luck and abundance and joy. Right? And so we get to see from the Western and from outside of their culture, the more of the blending of the worldly or the secular and the spiritual or religious, right? As they blend the two together. There's a whole lot of meaning to some of the parades with the dragons and yeah, even the length, the 15 days, right? So the lunar. So we have lots of opportunity. We have lots of opportunity to celebrate a new year. And I think with some information and sitting with your higher self, your soul, and your spiritual team, and feeling your way through it, right? And it's like, what feels good to me? What supports my life and how I've chosen to live my life, right? Is it to be more of a lunar celebration with the divine and sacred feminine? Is it more of a celebration using the divine masculine, right? And I think it's really up to you. As long as, I think that as long as you've got balance, what's wrong with a celebration? You've got intention to it. What's wrong with the celebration, right? Right. And in my research, I realized that at Star Nations, the magazine, that the writers, our contributing writers, we have written about the winter solstice for 3 issues, actually issues 77 through 80, just in 2019. That doesn't count all of the last 5 years of issues where we've written about the solstice and about the moon, right? So we have lots of information that we've shared in the past that if you would like to take a dive into the archives, I invite you to do that, and so that you can kind of get another from different perspectives that we've shared the information about, right? Yep. All right. Rob, hi, Anne. Good to have you here, Anne. Rob, when you get a second, could you bring up the picture of the moons, the phases of the moons? There we go. Thank you, Rob. We use this particular, and if you could turn off the scroller, that would be helpful too. Thanks. Yeah, this is a particular image that I used in the magazine several years ago for our then astrologer, Cindy. And I still like this image about the moons and how the waning and the waxing of the moons. In other words, when you go from a full moon to all the way around back to the full moon, right? And in the quarters. And I find it really, from a Native American point of view, can you kind of see the medicine wheel on here, right? With the earth in the center. In the cardinal directions, right, you have the new moon, the full moon, the third quarter moon, and the first quarter moon, right? So in the east, the new moon, in the west, the full moon, in the north, the first quarter moon, and in the south, the third quarter moon, right? And in the crosswinds, in the northeast, southeast, right, in the crosswinds, we have the waxing and the waning of the moon. When I saw this, I thought, it's helpful to me anyway. It's helpful to me to see how we um, can look at the moon from this kind of perspective, right? Now, here's the thing is that those crosswinds on the medicine wheel, the crosswinds, those are the times when we celebrate the equinoxes and the solstices, right? The equinoxes and the solstices. That's when the moon is either waxing or waning, right? Yeah. And in those quarters, and the cross quarters are also known as those crosswinds, is that that's when we feel the energies that are most, they're shifting, right? And sometimes they can be uncomfortable. They can be uncomfortable because that's also when the seasons change, is in those crosswinds. So looking at this, and we're looking at the lunar calendar, right? And so with the lunar calendar, we're going from the first full moon, and we're traveling actually counterclockwise past the third quarter moon. Right? Do you see that? And it's taking 15 days to the new moon. Yeah. I don't know, when you take it in, right? Just trying to just take it in. What I found to be challenging is that we're so used to living and understanding how time passes through the measurement of the sun. That sometimes when we're taking in the information about the moon, it's a little bit of a push me pull you kind of energy. Anybody feeling that? A little bit of a push me pull you. It's like, I get it. Wait a minute. No, I don't. Yes, I do. It's in our blood and our bones. Our ancestors have done celebrations on the moon cycles for generations. Generations. It's not until more modern times that we get into the more divine or sacred masculine way of celebrating. You know, the Celts and the old Irish, they still celebrate the evening before the major holidays, right? So they're celebrating in the evening during the very feminine time. Doesn't mean that they don't recognize the next day, the more masculine energy of that celebration, but they begin the celebration the night before. Yeah. Rob, could you bring up Jen's comment, please? Yeah, she says, as soon as you said in the crosswinds, a strong wind came through the window of my crown. I guess they wanted you. Thanks for sharing that, Jen. I guess they really wanted you to pay attention to that one piece, huh? It must be information for you. So, you know, why would we even want to be concerned about this information? What does it really mean for us in our everyday life? You know, that's a question I asked myself. And the short answer for me, the short answer is that to be more fully aware of the divine feminine and how we can bring even more of that energy into our lives, right? Because really what we're doing is we're striving for balance. We're striving for balance. We have lived most of our life in the energies of the sacred masculine, out of balanced sacred masculine, right? And so as we bring in more of the divine feminine, we begin to feel that energy shifting and changing and striking a balance for us as much as possible, right? A little at a time until we can actually feel where the balance is for us individually, right? And Rob, if you could bring up the next picture. I don't remember which ones I had out there. I should have wrote them down for myself. Doesn't matter. Just bring up either one of them. Either one of them's fine. Yeah, here we go. Love this one. It's one of my favorite ones. How many people have ever experienced the festival of lanterns? Right now, we happen to do this all over the world now, but it is one that I would like to experience. The ceremony, the actual ceremony that goes with this, right? Done in the best well-known one is in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and it's during the Yi Ping in November, and it's basically set because of the moon. It's a lunar celebration, and it's much like a New Year's celebration or a solstice celebration. It's got that same intention to it of what are you going to keep and what are you letting go? What are you bringing in, right? And the blessings, the wish, the intentions, right, that go up with the lantern. Yeah, I want to do this. It's on my list. It's on my list of things to do. And I'm actually, just to even see them go up would be really awesome. But my heart, I would really like just to be, even if I was just a witness of the actual ceremony. I think that watching them to go up is in ceremony would be very moving. Has anybody experienced this? And if you have, please let us know. Yeah, please let us know. I would like to. It's held in November. It says that this festival or time of celebration is used to is a releasing event and happens in the past year, whatever you want to release that happened in the past, that past year, and that you want to let go of, right? And then to make a wish for the coming Lunar New Year, right? Yeah, but I like this photo because I think it's because of the children, and experiencing this. It's a very feminine way of celebrating, right? Yeah. Mhm. Rob, could we bring up Stephanie's first comment, please? Yeah. Stephanie says, "Moon, push me, pull you, like the tide, like blood, like life and luck." Yes, yes. I don't know if you felt that, Stephanie, but when I had the other picture up, and this is the first when I first took a look at it for tonight, because I've seen it before, but for tonight, I really felt that energy of, oh, I get this. Look at that, and then when the other information that we've all grown up with, the sun calendar, right? Is that sometimes it's hard to shift gears and to try to bring in the lunar information and to really bring it in so that we understand it in our feelings, in our body, and also in our mind, right? So it's kind of that push me pull you kind of thing. And I like what you said with the tides, because it fits, doesn't it? Yeah. All right. Yes, the Festival of Lanterns. Yes. Now, Jen is saying Thailand's New Year's thousands of land. Yes, yes, it's just gorgeous. I've only seen pictures of it. I was trying to get Deb Swingholm on as a guest tonight because she actually lived in Chiang Mai and had firsthand experience of both seeing it and participating in it, but she was busy tonight. Jen says, and fireworks and the fire truck engines. Yeah, that's true. Very, very true. Very true. I suppose it's very similar, if you will, to our fireworks, right? Well, the fireworks came from China, right? Um, but with the sound, I suppose it's very much more extroverted, I think. Whereas the lanterns, other than the humans oohs and ahs, it's not quite as loud. It's much more subtle. It's in that feminine energy, actually. All right. And so one of the things that I really focused on when I was going through the information is that with the moon being feminine, right? Feminine energy, and the earth being feminine energy, that when we take into consideration how we want to celebrate and when we want to celebrate, that we're already in sacred feminine energy. We just have to turn our attention to it and make the decision, right, to bring in and tap into that energy in our celebrations. And it really is about finding that balance for ourselves. And how many people have used the way of the Celtic people, the old Irish people? Amantha would be telling me that's two different people. That's two different people. That the celebration, right? The celebration of the evening before. Now, most of the winter solstice celebrations I've either been to or led have obviously been the night before, right? And for 2012, everybody remember that? It was a big deal, right? It was a big deal. I was more interested in what happened on 12/22. 12/22. And as we energetically began that journey into the sacred feminine energy, right? But that was, to me, that we were kind of on a crux. And the measurement of the processions actually get measured by the equinox, where we have, and I'm going to put in a quote, the equal energy of night and day, right? It's interesting to me that we go from that measurement in the processions when we figure out the next big shift, right? What is that? 26,500 years, I think it is, if I remember right. Yeah. But it is in the solstices. It's in the solstices that we actually take in more of the moon energy, right? For us, it would have been the winter solstice, the shortest night, right? Where we're spending more time under the moon, right? Yeah. And in the summertime, having the longest day, more time under the sun. And don't you find it interesting, fascinating, that the way that Grandmother Earth is created to have that happen in the opposite hemispheres. So we have that natural balance that's going on between on her body, in her body, right? I find that fascinating. Do you? Do you? How many people actually sit and kind of think about this a bit or wonder about it? Now here I am, this triple Sag, right? Yep. I spend some time with this kind of stuff, wondering about it, thinking about it, and then doing a little research and finding out how does this all kind of go together energetically. So whether or not we are entering it in a conscious way, I truly believe that we are affected by the lunar movement in that measurement of our life, right? It is in the measurement of how time passes that we record our journey, right? So many of us use the sun, the daytime. How many days have passed, right? In that measurement, and what did we do in that time frame? What experiences did we have? Whereas if we use the lunar measurement, it's more of the feminine. It's in that yin energy, right? Even on the full moon, when it's bright out, it's not as bright as the sun, right? We can see, but it's not as bright as the sun. Many of our ancestors used the moon to do that measurement of how time moved by. Right? I find it not just fascinating. If I wonder what would happen if we actually started doing part of our life in that measurement. What would happen? Do we do that now? Some of us in the spiritual roundtable and the dream interpretation show in the private group, you might say that we spend some of our time in that measurement because we are focusing on turning our attention to the dream time, right? And many of us, that means nighttime. There's some people who work third shift, and so their nighttime, or their dream time is more in the daytime. But yeah, I wonder what would happen in that kind of measurement. And I wonder if we would be saying that time is going by so quickly. That's how I started the show off. Because it's the 28th. It's like January passed in a breath, right? If we were doing measurement by lunar time, would we be feeling the same? Would it still be feeling like it was going by very quickly? I don't know. Grandmother is still doing her thing. Grandmother Earth, it's still her resonance that is making us feel like the time has sped up. Yeah. Stephanie is saying, can you bring that up, please? Yeah, she says, I guess I need to start channeling my lunar Libra. Yeah. Wouldn't that be interesting, though? It's a good point you make, Stephanie, because we all have that, right? We all have our moon sign, which mine happens to be Pisces. Yeah, mine happens to be Pisces. And what does that mean? I think I'm going to ask Julie that question. She doesn't happen to be in the house, is she? I don't think so. I didn't see her name come up. She might be working on jewelry stuff tonight. Yeah, I don't see her in the house. But that would be a good question for Julie Hedges about the moon sign. Yeah. Look. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's very interesting though. Good one, Stephanie. Good one. Another thing to consider, and how we tap into our moon sign energy, right? Because I'm always talking about my triple Sag, right? But I do have that Pisces influence in there with my moon. Very interesting. Very interesting. I just want to make sure I covered the points that I wanted to do. Oh, here's one. And I'm thinking you guys might like this one too. When we are considering the winter solstice, right? The winter solstice. And we reflect on the previous year and what we're going to let go, what we want to bring in, right? There's lots of energy around that coming from many different cultures. And many of those cultures happen to be pagan, right? And so when we take in the culture of the Viking, right? They're the ones that brought us the Yule. Okay. Now there was an article that I was reading some time ago. I can't even tell you when. It's been that long. And it was about how we could actually look at a pagan New Year. And it was an article all about supporting the celebration of a new year using the winter solstice. And I had to sit with that one for just a little bit, because we could consider that as a lunar new year, right? And if you make the choice to do your New Year celebration at the winter solstice, are you considering how you bring in the energy of the goddess? Energy of the goddess. And Rob, if you could bring up that other picture, it's the picture of the goddess. Here's another picture that we used for one of the solstices in the magazine a few years ago. And it's one of the images of the goddess that I really, really liked when for the magazine. Yeah, you can really feel the energy of the feminine with her. And with the image in the center, more of a yin yang feeling to it with the balance there. You know, you might say that was more about the equinox, but really it has more to do with the balance of male and female, right? And so as we're striving for that, it depends on how we want to bring in the sacred feminine into our life more consciously, and when we do this, the lunar new year. I love this picture. It's one of the things I like doing for the magazine is locating photos to go with the contributing writers' articles, those that need my assistance to do that. Yeah. So what do you guys think about that? That picture, that image with her third eye lit up. Third eye lit up. Most definitely yin, with the dark colors, the dark blues, the blacks, dark purples. I like her hair too. It's a conscious decision. One that I don't know if we've really considered it, talked about it much, and how we make those decisions of how and when to bring in that sacred feminine. consciously bringing it in, right? What kind of ceremonies do we do, right? Yeah. Rochelle saying very intense but gentle. Yes. I'm into the colors. Rob is saying lit with 8 points of Celtic wheel in the bottom crescent from 2001. Yeah. 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 You know, and it doesn't matter whether we're male or female energy, gender, or if you even prescribe to no gender, right? We're talking about the sacredness of it, the sacred of the masculine and the sacred of the feminine, and how we express those in our lives. And the lunar new year and the lunar calendar gives us an opportunity to consciously make some decisions about that and how to experience it, how to have it unfold in our physical lives, right? Yeah. Let's see, Stephanie. No words, speechless. Oh my goodness. I think that's going some for Stephanie. Oh my gosh. Rob is saying also the darkness between her head and hair, like the emanations of the, how do you pronounce that? Zimzum? Okay. And what is a zimzum?
Tzimtzum.
What is it?
The original emanation of the Ein Sof, according to Kabbalah.
The original emanation of what?
From the Ein Sof, the primal nothingness.
Okay. So what's an Ein Sof?
It cannot be described. It's the primal nothingness.
The void, in other words.
Yes.
Yeah, the void?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Rob. All right. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And so one of the reasons why I even wanted to share this with everybody was just to bring our awareness to it, our consciousness to it, to turn our attention to it. And so that you have an opportunity to be able to decide for yourself how you would like to tap into the energy of the divine feminine for New Year's. We have another until what is it? Until the 9th of February. If you still want to consciously bring that into your life, just to spend a little time with it, right? Or perhaps you already did. Did you do that for the winter solstice? Or did you do something specifically for the Chinese New Year? Right? The difference is I think, is doing it consciously. Right? So, here at Star Nations, we've been talking about the New Year since October, right? Because of 2020 and the new decade. And so this is just one more layer on there so that you can give some thought and some emotion, some feeling toward it, and how you would like to include the divine feminine into your celebrations. We've got time. There's going to be another one coming up pretty soon, right? All right. So I'm looking at the time. I just wanted to share with you a couple of other things that's going on this week so that you know what we got going for you, right? And so tomorrow night is Polly Joe's evening show, and that is Soul Connections, and that's an evening of divine healing and card messages. And I believe Polly Joe is feeling better, and so she'll probably have the healing meditation tomorrow night. So if you have something that you would like to, an intention, bring into that healing, tomorrow night, it's a good night to do that. It's a powerful evening when we're all together working on our own stuff. And Polly Jo is holding, her and her team are holding that sacred vessel for us to do our own healing work with. And so that is on at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And then Thursday, whoops, I got to move back just one more. I always forget my own shows. Why is that? Wednesday afternoon is the Spiritual Roundtable at 3 p.m. And that is the weekly card draw. And it's that card draw is meant for the group, for all of us, the community, and we have a spiritual conversation around that. That's at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And Thursday, we have Polly Jo on at 7 p.m. Eastern time with Chakra Sessions. She has moved her show from Tuesday to Thursday, and at a new time at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And I believe she is talking about, what is she talking about? I should know this. I think she's talking about energy in the new year again, if I remember right. And then in the evening, on Thursday evening, is Living in Two Worlds with Carl and Orchard Franklin and myself. And we're actually talking some more about 2020 and actually bringing in the information and energy around, Orchard is our resident expert in the mystery schools, the Egyptian mystery schools. And so this is going to be another layer of information around 2020. Yeah, it's going to be a good one. And then we've got other things coming up too. We've been so busy here at Star Nations. I'm hoping, got my fingers crossed, I'm hoping that you guys are going to be as interested and excited about this next thing as I have been. And that is our online classes are getting started in February. Yay! We've been working on this for quite some time. And so it's good to have this coming around. What we decided to do was to offer all of you what we're calling a manifesting online classes. They're bundled. You get 4 classes for the price of one price. And so if you can bring that image up, please, Rob, for the online classes. You have 4 of us. Yeah, it's called, whoops, that's the weekend. We need the other one. Yeah, there's 4 of us. It's called A Launch into the Deep Waters of Manifesting. We have Maureen Mann, who is first up on February 10th. She's bringing in the angelic assistance to manifesting. And actually, one of the things that she's going to be addressing is our worthiness, our self-worth, and how we manifest the life that we want to live. Do we feel that we are worthy of such a good life, right? And so she's going to be bringing in the information about with the angelics, with the archangels. And so that's on February 10th. On March 21st is Ed Langen, and he's our resident expert on the law of attraction. And so he is going to be talking about true creation and the law of attraction. One of the things that we know more about the law of attraction is that some people say it doesn't work, right? And they're very frustrated. It's like, I thought I knew how to do this and nothing's happening. Well, Ed's going to be teaching us about that and how not to do that. It's a really good class he's going to be doing. And then April 23rd is Polly Jo LeBay, and she's got multi-dimensional manifesting in your inner child. Did you know that your inner child is helping you? That aspect of you is helping you to manifest, not just in this dimension, but in other dimensions as well. And why do we even need to know that, right? Well, Polly Jo is going to be giving us a hand on that one. And then May 3rd is my class, Remembering How to Create. And that has so much to do with the balance between our head and our heart, and entering the unified field and stepping away from manifesting in duality, right? And so you get all 4 of us online And I want to thank those people who've already registered. Thank you so much. And we look forward to being with you on each one of those evenings. Yeah, it's going to be good. Oh, it's via Zoom, so you can either call in or you can be with us via your computer and video. Okay, it's a good one. All right, so if you want more information on how to register for that, Rob, if you could put that link in the comments, that would be helpful. And those 4 classes are really what they're doing is they're establishing a really good foundation, a really strong foundation for the in-person class that's happening in May 29th through the 31st. I'm going to be on the East Coast. Yes, I am. We're going to meet up in Massachusetts at Trinity Healing Sanctuary. That is Polly Joe's Healing Sanctuary. The 4 of us will be there for a healing weekend. We've got a healing day planned, an inner child day planned, and each one of us, the 4 of us, are taking our classes even deeper. So we're getting you prepared for that in the online classes and in the in-person class. Yes, we're going there. So hopefully you'll be able to join us for that one as well. Registration and more information is on our website at starnations.org at the Academy page. Right. Good one. I can't wait for that. Yay. It's going to be fun. Yes. But I also get to meet many of you in person. And it's going to be the first time that the 4 of us will be able to work together in person in May. So yay for that too. And it's also Polly Joe's birthday. I think it's that Sunday. And so we get to spend her birthday with her too. It's good stuff. And one last thing, I don't think I gave you the picture for this one, Rob, but in June on the 20th, I have a drum making workshop near Hastings, Michigan. For those people who have been waiting for the next drum making workshop, it's on June 20th. Hastings, Michigan, at Edge of the Woods Healing Retreat Center, run by Lori DeDecker. And you'll find more information about that at the website as well. Yeah. So I get to be in Michigan and in Massachusetts. That's cool, huh? All right. So I hope you enjoyed the show tonight and about the lunar New Year and bringing it, I think, into a wider perspective, right? That it's an opportunity for us to be able to bring in the sacred feminine more consciously into our life and to use that as a celebration to bring a more conscious way of living from the sacred feminine into our lives. So I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you so much for being with me this evening. I do appreciate it. And so you can be with me next week for Communications from Home. I just remembered one more thing. Okay. So I found out today that that there was a map that has been created by Aaron Carapella. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Aaron, I've met several years ago and interviewed him. He is a map maker, and he has created maps of indigenous people in the Americas in our original sacred lands. Okay. And I interviewed him several years ago, and he contacted me and said he was making a new map. And he was hoping that I would be willing to be a part of it. And I said, well, what do I have to do? And he said, well, I've already selected you. I just need your picture and your bio. All right. So today's the first day I saw it. He posted the new map. It's called Inspirational Women of the Americas, Native America. And I happen to be one of those people. And so thank you, Aaron, for that. I'm so grateful and excited about it too. And so Aaron is going to be my guest on February 18th. So you guys can meet him in person, and we're going to be talking about his new map. And so, yay! I know I'm so grateful and appreciative and happy about it. I'm happy about it. Rob was teasing me about it. He goes, now you're cool. And I said, well, I've always been cool. It's just no, just he says, well, just more people know about it now. Well, yeah, and I have to be really grateful to Aaron. He's done such a big contribution to many people, not just Indigenous people, but many people, in helping them understand and see the true placement of our ancestors here in the Americas, right? Yeah. All right. So thank you so much. And we'll see you back here next week for Communications from Home. And you can join me tomorrow afternoon for the Spiritual Roundtable. Yeah. So, Bamamina, that's Potawatomi for until we see each other again. I love you guys. Good night, everybody.